Coming Down is proudly sponsored by Colorado Ganja Gear, high-quality, artistically inspired herb grinders. So let me tell you, these things are great. I actually own one. My favorite part is the perfect consistency you get after grinding. Some grinders just pulverize your herb into dust, but the razor-sharp teeth and smooth action on these always leave you with perfect, fluffy, evenly ground herb. The craftsmanship is top-notch, made from aircraft-grade aluminum to guarantee you won't get metal shavings mixed into your herb. But the best part, truly, is each grinder features original artwork created by Colorado artist Lori Beatty. She creates unique mandalas that are laser-etched into each magnetic lid. And each grinder comes in a silk bag and has free shipping. So just go to etsy.com/shop/Colorado Ganja Gear and enter the code COMINGDOWN in all caps for $5 off, or go to the show notes for this episode and follow the link. Thanks and enjoy the episode.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Coming Down. I'm Matthew, joined here by my coast-ho, Nathan.
Dude, I am a coast ho. Hell yeah. What's up, folks?
Yeah, greetings.
I always like finding a new moniker that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I mean, who knew? I guess you probably knew, since you've been a coast ho forever, but...
Hey, I mean, the weather's nice, and I have a car that will get me there, so... Might be a coast ho sooner than later.
Damn, I hope so. I could be a coast ho groupie.
Yeah. I mean, I have tomorrow off, and I considered either going to the coast or the mountains, but I also have been slacking on a ton of chores and errands and stuff, so here we go.
Yeah, tomorrow is basically my fucking fight the hangover and be an adult day, so...
Yeah, totally. Which is why, I probably won't get too wily tonight. Yeah. But we're going to see Wand tonight.
Hell the fuck yeah, we are.
So that should be insane.
Yeah.
We'll report back on that.
Exactly. Hopefully, we're not transmogrified into an ox.
Totally. Some people will get that. Dude, so cool breaking news today. Denver decriminalized mushrooms.
Oh my god, right? Yeah, I found out about that while I was at work the other day, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I was a little worried, so I read Tuesday morning that they were voting on it. They had put it up to a public vote.
Right.
And then I read Tuesday afternoon that it wasn't going to pass, that it was 52% not in favor. And I was like, god damn it, the world's not ready for it.
Right. When I looked it up, those were the headlines that were a little ways down the page where they're like, oh, it's not going to pass in Denver, you know?
Yeah, I was like, come on, Denver, I thought you were cool. Yeah. But then I woke up this morning and it was like, nope, that shit passed. So,
yeah.
Way to, be on the cutting edge and do some really cool shit.
Oh, it's so great. And, I mean, hopefully this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg because, I mean, whether or not you are interested yourself in trying out psychedelics or whatever, I honestly believe that not just mushrooms, but MDMA and LSD and peyote and a lot of the other psychedelics, even DMT, are potentially have therapeutic uses. And I mean, it's already
not even
been
potentially, they do, right, for sure.
I was going to say, it's already been demonstrated in a lot of fairly well documented cases that it's helped people,
Yep. But it's been hard in America with all the stigma and how illegal that they've made them for even government scientists to get their hands on it and actually do lengthy studies to get this information out. So what this means isn't necessarily that Denver's going to be this mushroom haven and that you can just buy it anywhere. In fact, it's still illegal. They've just moved it to bottom priority.
It's decriminalized.
Yep, so they're just not really looking for it. They're not really going to, throw the book at people for it.
Right.
And so that's great. So that's going to free up a lot of people to not have to worry so much to, get their hands on it, experiment with it, and do some tests with it, do therapy with it. And hopefully that will lead to just more destigmatization of it. It's probably not a word, but
no, that was right.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Just take away from the fear that people have around it, because I think a lot of people out in the world, if you haven't done a lot of drugs, and that's totally fine, but a lot of people equate it to the bad drugs,
Oh, right.
People think that mushrooms equals cocaine equals heroin equals...
Right, because they all have the same fucking punishment.
Right, exactly. And
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just the thing that people don't realize is that it's not habit forming, because God, nobody can just trip day after day.
I mean, people have tried. It is actually impossible.
Yeah, you know? And even people who have been experimenting with microdosing, it's not habit forming at all. There's no addictive properties to it. The danger you can get in is, getting too wily and getting yourself in some weird trouble or some weird situation.
Yeah, or thinking for yourself and wondering what the government's up to.
Yeah, well,
that might be a side effect. And honestly, absolutely, it doesn't hurt anyone. It's fucking not habit forming, and it's pretty fucking safe. Like, there's no toxic side effects, despite what people believe about psilocybin being a toxin. It is actually not. It's a tryptamine. But it's pretty great that they've lifted the ban on these things, because that's what I was going to say, is that the illegality of these things is often a barrier for entry for a lot of people, because they just A, don't want to get in trouble, and B, assume that it's illegal for a reason, and that the people who are doing this shit are crazy because they think that they're having a good time, but it's probably killing them somehow, And I think if once it's decriminalized, people will have potentially a different attitude towards it, and might be a little more curious about it. And as we've stated before, I think it's a good thing for people to have experienced psychedelics at least once in their lives, because it really kind of changes your perceptions of a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think once people see the positive effects through the therapy that can go on with this, that will also help remove the stigma from it. So,
100%.
Yeah. In fact, the person who perpetuated this, this bill, I don't know if it was a bill, I don't know how laws work, but the person who perpetuated this vote in Denver was an ex-Army vet who had been doing therapy with mushrooms to treat PTSD. And, there have already been myriad studies on using MDMA and psilocybin to help treat PTSD with pretty decent success. I think ketamine too.
Oh, cool.
So it's like there's a whole facet or niche of people that could really use this and could really benefit them, that really didn't know it was an option to them before, because they just thought that, like, it equals drugs, it equals illegal drugs.
Right.
Even if they thought it was good for them, a lot of people don't want to risk it too, because they don't want to get in trouble. So
yeah, when you stigmatize these, kind of consciousness opening chemicals as just party drugs, then of course people aren't going to think of it as like some kind of therapeutic thing, know. But I mean, in the 80s, before MDMA was illegalized, there were psychologists who were using it for couples therapy for people who had terminal diagnoses, like cancer patients who were going to die, and spouses just couldn't fucking talk about it because the emotions were too fucking strong. People whose marriages were being ruined by this terminal cancer diagnosis, and you give a couple of people a relatively mild dose of MDMA. I mean, they're not trying to blow their lids off, enough to get them there, and you just put them in a room in a comfortable space, and you just say, fucking talk about it. They might fucking get there,
and it makes sense. And I mean, I think anyone who is fucked with alcohol just understands that even a little alcohol, removes all those kind of social blinders that you get, I mean, that's why we all love to go out and be social when we drink, because it takes that down a little bit, takes all the anxiety down a notch, and you can go and talk to people and be in a social situation. So I mean, you're talking about putting yourself in a situation where your perception is altered, and so then you get to approach things from a different angle. And we could wax on and on about this.
This could be another fucking episode.
I know, right? Just praising the virtues of all this, but just wanted to bring it up because, man, that's awesome. Way to go, Denver! And I hope that some really good data comes out of this. I hope some really cool experiments and scientific research come out of this, and then we can start spreading it. Yeah,
and I hope that the other states on the Pacific Coast are paying attention, because I mean, look at what other things have Or look at what decriminalizing marijuana did to Denver's economy. Like, think about what this kind of research could do. For
it shouldn't
states,
bolster the economy because it's not legal, but it's the first step, you know.
Absolutely, and I mean, like, we'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, pretty wild stuff. But I'm stoked.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what falls out of that.
Yep, for sure.
So yeah, should we do something to introduce this?
You know, I don't think there's much to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, I will just say that it's my barber, Kimberly, and she's amazing. I fucking love her so much.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast having her on this.
I
guess I do want to say thank you, Kimberly, for being so candid.
Oh my God, right?
I don't know what it is, but we've had several guests on here who just come in and just give us all the stuff, you know, and it's like,
and with little to no warning, you know, it's just like, I've got a story for you guys, and we're like, cool, what's it about? It's about blah blah blah, here we go.
Yeah, totally. And so, you know, thank you for going deep and telling some very personal stuff.
Yes.
And yeah, I just think it's so cool that people are willing to do that with us and let us put it out to the world, because hell, like, that's the kind of stuff that people listen to and they relate to it. Like, if you've had a rough childhood or a rough family life, you're going to listen to this episode and be like, holy shit, someone else out there knows what that's like.
Absolutely.
And that feels so good when you can relate to someone, and, you know, it's like, you're not alone in this world, so.
Right. And I think it, you know, first of all, thank you, Kimberly, for, you know, being so honest and forthright and sharing such deeply personal stuff, you know. Also, to anyone out there who is child abuse, like, there's going to be some gnarly stuff in this story, so just a heads up.
That is true. Yeah, I suppose we should give a mild content warning. If you had a rough childhood or whatever, you know, that stuff gets brought up.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, nothing too graphic.
Nope, not at all. And so, yeah, I'd say a mild warning, but it's worth mentioning.
Absolutely. So, and also, we just want to give Kimberly a plug, because she's an amazing barber, and she's at Heritage Barbershop on Cully.
Yeah, so totally. We'll put the link in the show notes. She also plugs at the beginning of the episode, but we'll make sure we get it all out there. I'll tweet it. I'll do it all. We'll get it all out there. So anyone PDX local, or if you're coming through and you need a haircut.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's a girl.
Absolutely. So, you know, we don't want to hold anybody up from this, because this is quite a fucking ride.
Yeah, totally. I do just want to sort of like plug the Patreon again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just since... yeah, we've got all the merch in hand now. The shipments should be going out on those soon. So if you're looking to get your hands on some of that merch, go hop on our Patreon, subscribe, or change your level if you want to change up and get a shirt or whatever. If you don't, that's totally cool. Everyone who is listening and everyone who's chipping in, we love you so much.
Absolutely.
Everything matters. So, and then we are going to get a web store eventually. I would say probably in the next month I'll get a store. So if you don't want to do the Patreon thing, but you'd like to just do a one-time buy a shirt or something like that, that'll be up sooner than later. More info to come on that.
Damn straight. Yeah, we've got a lot in the pipe, and it'll be coming out soon.
Yep, for sure.
So yeah, we've got links to all the show notes, as well as all of the info about all the wonderful people who help us produce this show on the mothership, and that's at comingdownpod.com. We also have links there to our Patreon, and that is at patreon.com/comingdownpod. Another thank you to everyone who supports this show. We couldn't do it without you. If you'd like to be on the show, that's at comingdownpod on Twitter. Just give us a heads up, because we would love to hear from you. And our email is comingdownpod@gmail.com. Give us a shout. The platforms are Spotify, Google Play. Not really so much SoundCloud anymore.
Not really. It's there, though.
We're also on YouTube and iTunes. And if you'd like to give us a rate and review, please give us a review on Stitcher. Thank you so much.
Yeah, totally.
Let's go!
Story.
You don't have any ghost stories?
Nah,
I don't either.
I have a tertiary one. So I got So I got a job bartending. It was twofold. I got it because I blackmailed my boss. Well, sort of blackmailed him, sort of like...
That kind of guy. That's a story right there.
Actually, I think I told this story on here already, but yeah. But the other reason I got the job was because the girl who had the bartending job quit because the club we worked at was supposedly haunted. There were several people there had weird incidents, but hers was she was working one night and the top shelf bottles are, I don't know, 4 feet up, 4 feet up off the ground or 5 feet up off the ground. The bar itself is probably 3 feet from that location, so diagonal from that location. And she was just, doing her drawer or whatever, and then all of a sudden 2 of the bottles just hit the bar and shattered. Like, flew past her head and hit the bar and shattered.
Dang.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And she quit. Like, she was like, that's it.
Yep.
I'm never coming back.
No.
The opera almost killed her.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the other reason I got that job, because they needed someone.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You didn't find anything weird, though?
No, and I worked there a
In
bunch.
her wake?
Right.
One night I was closing, and there's a door that goes to the back room where we had the ice machine and the cooler and everything, and we could not get the door closed, and it was really bizarre. Like, there was like pressure on it, and we checked everything, checked the hinges and the jam and everything, and we just could not get it closed. It would get about an inch away, and then just we could kind of bend it, but it wouldn't latch or close at all.
Weird.
I have no idea. It's not weird enough that I'm gonna call it a ghost story. It was definitely weird, and 2 of us worked on it for a minute, and we're like,
Not as weird as the van story, right?
Yeah, right? See, that's like the weird thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
The really unexplainable thing, but yeah, no ghost stories. Another guy who worked at that bar had some weird incident where he had set out all the like trays, and we had ashtray. We could still smoke in the bar, and we had ashtrays, and he had set out all those, and then the little like dispensers that had napkins and straws and stuff. And his mom called him, and so he grabs the call, walked to one end of the bar, and in that time, when he turned around, on the floor was a row of napkins. So the dispensers were all on the ground, but the napkins were all in a perfect line down the bar. And then the straws were on top in a perfect line. And then on top of that were matchbooks in a perfect line.
What?
Yeah. I didn't see it, though. It's just secondhand story from him. Although he was a pretty, like, trustworthy guy. I don't think he was in the market of bullshitting people on ghost stories. But I don't know. I didn't see it, so.
Mysterious and spooky.
Yeah.
Curious and good.
Yeah, so ever the skeptic, I don't know, I don't really buy any of it, but...
Anything's possible, really.
Yeah, for sure.
No one knows shit.
I've certainly seen stranger.
Yeah.
I do know that bar we worked at during World War II, it was a Japanese internment camp, and then there was a legend that... Because there definitely was a fire at that bar at one point, and there's a legend that a girl died in it, but I don't know if that's even true. I couldn't find any evidence of that.
The building that the bar was in was part of an internment camp?
Yeah.
What the shit?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was just 2 double-wide trailers, like, shoved together. And so I think originally they'd just thrown these trailers down and then fenced it, and it was an internment camp. But...
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
No wonder that building had bad juju in it.
Oh, yeah, that building definitely had some weird vibes, all things aside. It was a strange place, for sure.
Fuck,
Well, it
dude.
just goes to show that energy is held.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe
vibes,
that to whatever
sure.
extent.
I mean, I don't think you have to believe in anything to think that some bad shit is in a fucking concentration camp.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All
All right. Bringing the note down there.
Just getting the heebie-jeebies right off the jump, right?
I mean, how did we even get into that story? I don't even know. The ghost story from the
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Well, we went. What is it? Whose law is it? Gottfried? No. Anyway, 0 to Hitler in less than 20 minutes.
Oh. That's hilarious.
Godwin's law. That's what it is.
Godwin.
Yeah.
So is that is it like Godwin's Wikipedia game when you try and get to Hitler in like 6 clicks or something?
No. Godwin's law is that any conversation that goes on long enough will eventually mention Hitler or something like that.
Oh, I mean, interesting. I could see that.
I think it's refined for the internet. It's more like any internet forum of sufficient length will eventually mention Hitler.
Interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Significant.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, should we jump into this? Should we get into it?
I mean, yeah, we already Godwined ourselves.
We Godwin ourselves right into the episode here.
Hell yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Well, since we realized we didn't even mention our guest name last time, we're here with Kimberly.
Yeah, we should probably do introductions.
I mean,
we're not professionals here, but common courtesy seems like a good idea.
Sure.
Not just a Kimberly off the street either. I'm a barber.
Damn straight.
Matthew's barber.
My own personal barber.
Your personal stylist. You've reached that level.
Oh my god, I love it.
6 months. Record time. So it's Godwin's.
Hell yeah. Cheers. Do you want to plug your biz right?
Oh yeah, I work at Heritage Barbershop on the Cully location between Fremont and Prescott in Northeast Portland. Our flagship is on Burnside. If you need some cuts, come see us.
What's the website?
Website heritagebarbershop.com. You can book online. You can call us up. It's super easy. I think GenBook even has an app that you can download. Makes it, taking everything into the high tech. Although the one job that I don't think will ever get replaced by a robot is haircutting.
Oh, damn straight.
And shaving. I would not.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like the topology of human hair is actually really complicated.
It is. Well, and just like, it's a service. You know?
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, like,
yeah.
Why do you go to me every time? It's because we have a relationship and a connection.
Right.
And
it's because you're amazing. And I mean, like, I think stylists tend to get lumped in with like psychologists therapists and like
bartender.
There we go. Yeah, therapists, bartenders, and stylists all kind of share the same Venn diagram.
Therapy.
Like, like you're taking care of people. Massage therapy is in there too.
Sure,
just people taking care of people and like
you're having a more personal interaction with your customer for sure.
Absolutely, and by God, do I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, entirely.
Well, I'll have to come hit you up because I have yet to find a stylist or barber that I actually particularly like in this town. So,
dude, you remember I looked like you before I started going to the barber,
right?
And you came with me like randomly. You just like it was super random. You just were like, I'm gonna get a haircut today, and this girl looks cool.
Yep. Well, and like
I don't even know.
I think I'd already made the appointment, and Daniel was like, you should go to Kimberly at Heritage. Like, don't you already go there? And I was like, yeah, I'd actually just made an appointment with her. And he's like, oh, she's awesome.
Nice.
That's why you said Daniel was like, I get it.
Yep.
I was like, that's so random.
You'll actually find this funny. I have a short anecdote. Got my hair cut at Modern Man. I don't even think they exist anymore.
Everyone anyone knows the story about Modern Man.
That's where I first got my haircut, from when I was shaggy.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I went there.
Man, it was hilarious. So I go in, and the guy who did it, he was kind of this older guy, probably in his 60s. And
I remember this story, yeah.
Yeah, and he did a great job, and everything, and he was just doing the final bits, like, had the trimmer and was just doing around my ears, and I don't know how he did it, but he nicked my ear, and, took a kind of a chunk out of it.
Yeah.
And it hurt, too, and he did it, and he was like, oh, man, I'm sorry. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, it's fine. And he's like, oh, man, kind of bleeding there. He's like, I'll be right back, and so he gets these towels, and he's like putting towels on my ear, and then he's like, oh man, I gotta get the anticoagulant or whatever, or the coagulant like gel, and puts that on there, and then as he's finishing up, he's just mumbling the whole time like, 40 years on this job and never got a client. Oh, I can't believe that. Oh man, that's gonna fuck with me. 40 years doing this. I can't fucking believe that happened. And like, it tilted him super hard. Like he could not get over it.
Flash forward to today. He has, hair down to the back of his, down his back, and he's traumatized for life.
Yeah. So. Oh god.
Never cut another hair again, man.
Yeah. Right.
Cutting hair's wrong.
Everybody, it's happened to every barber at least once in their career. For
I imagine it has.
And it is traumatizing. You're just oh shit.
It's the last thing you want to do, but.
Yeah, my dad's barber used to nick my ear every goddamn time. I mean, like, never, like, drawn blood or anything, but always just, oh, sorry. Like, really? Again?
Those are still there. Pretty sure the last guy had them too.
Right? I'm like, how drunk are you right now, dude? Is my dad even paying you? Jesus.
Somebody was like, we have a, heritage barbershop. It's like old school kind of like, Americana barbering, if you will. And there's this old school sign that says 25 cents for a shave and a haircut, 2 bits, whatever. And the guy's like, oh, what happened to 2 bits? And Brian, the owner's like, it's 2 bits, just of 100 now. Good old inflation.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Right?
We get some, over in the Cully neighborhood, we get a lot of old timers coming in, and they're like, oh, the last, because it's been a barbershop, like 3 for the last 3 things that it's been.
Oh, okay.
And so the guy that was cutting hair before was charging like $8 a haircut, you guys, like $8 to $10. What? Yeah. And they're like, oh, the other guy is $8.
1960.
Where's Louie? I'm like, he couldn't pay his rent.
Yeah.
No.
Criminy.
I'll do it for 17, okay? And that's like a homie hookup right now.
Like if
I got a mortgage. I'm sorry.
If they're coming in every week for a trim or something,
if you come in every week for sure, I'm gonna cut you a deal. But I got a mortgage, I can't be charging fucking $8 a haircut.
Hell no.
That's cheap. That's not even minimum wage.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not even minimum wage. Yeah, but. Sometimes I'm like, whatever, if it's slow, I'll just do it for $10 or $17.
Yeah. So do you consign there? Is that kind of how? Because some barbershops work like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixed bag on kind of what you get as far as compensation in Portland in general. But this one is a commission base, so it's just like the house takes however much of what you make that day, and then you take home the rest. It's
cool.
It's like a 1099. Independent contracting situation.
Okay.
So
sweet.
It's really awesome, but managing your own money and having to save for taxes is a little bit more stressful.
Yeah, 1099 is a two-edged sword.
It is. They fuck you.
You really gotta be good with your money.
You do, and I mean, and if you're not, you're not going to be doing it for very long.
Seriously.
You're not.
Yeah, for real.
Well, I had a guy when I first started there. He was trying to buy a house, and he hadn't really been taking a lot of care in that realm, and he's like, oh, well, I have access to this much. They're like, you can only apply for a loan based on your taxes, bro,
right.
So you gotta do that.
Do
that.
Yeah, I've talked to so many self-employed people who just get fucked year-end on taxes. It's crazy. Just because they don't,
dude.
Don't understand how self-employment
Well, and
works.
it changes every fucking 6 months.
Yeah, that
it's
too.
it's just... Anyways, let's not make this fucking...
Yeah, right.
Talk about taxes for days!
Damn the man!
Fuck!
Yeah, welcome to TaxCast.
After I get the bill.
Yeah. New podcast. We just bitch about our jobs and paying taxes. It's called Getting Old.
Wait, isn't that why people start podcasts? Just bitch about shit and talk about shit.
You're not wrong.
They're like, I like hanging out with my friends and talking about stuff. Fuck it, let's just record it.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, I mean
here we are.
Here we are.
That is exactly it. Because, and honestly, because why not, It's still a little bit the Wild West with podcasts, so,
big time.
There's no gatekeeper. Just make it and
there
put
should
it out.
not be a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech in this country.
No, the mandate is from the masses,
right.
Fucking, if people like it, then it continues,
Yeah, it is weird hearing, or, there's becoming more corporate podcasts now.
Oh, yeah.
Which is weird. Like, I go see movies in the theater all the time, and there's, like, the woman who does all the, like, intro stuff, even before the previews, like, the previews before the previews.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like, God, what's her name? Maria Menounos? I think I know, because I go to the movies so often.
I was like, I have no idea what you're talking
about. Recently, I noticed that her little spiel at the end, she's like, and listen to my new podcast. Like, man.
Podcasts have commercials
even
now?
You have a podcast?
Wait a minute.
Weird.
Right. No, that's the thing. Like every content creator has to have a podcast now. If you're a journalist, if you're like
well, that's the thing with media and social media and streaming and all this stuff is like it's kind of like all in or nothing. It's like when you buy a freaking iPhone, you have to like 5 months later, everything you own is Apple because that's just kind of how it goes.
Right.
You
gotta have your ecosystem.
You gotta have your ecosystem. Everything's connected.
Yeah.
We're so connected.
Well, it's good for comedians because every comedian has a good podcast idea.
Oh, yeah.
And it gives them a revenue stream.
True.
Well, and I feel like that's the cream that's going to rise to the top of like the podcast ocean as it's a shitty metaphor, but like.
Wait, cream in the ocean?
The ocean cream. You know what I'm talking about.
Seafoam?
But, thank you. Yes. We'll stick with seafoam. But, it's the folks who, like, that's what they do anyway. And, like, having another outlet for that is just, that's... And obviously, I mean, like, the ones that are the number one right now are all fucking comedians.
Oh, yeah. They all are, for sure.
People like to laugh.
Yep. And that's the majority of what I listen to. I mean, yeah. That's... Because I listen to it at work, so, yeah, I just want a smile on my face while I'm working.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the podcasts I listen to are scary story podcasts.
Ooh, nice.
And serial and stuff like that. I like to be
I've been
scared.
getting into the true crime stuff, and sometimes that's hard at work. Where you're just like, damn... It's already bleak enough.
Yeah, right. I actually first started getting into hearing any kind of recorded material, and it wasn't even podcasts. It was just stand up at first. But like that's because I was trimming weed, and like I needed something to get my mind off of it. And laughing is really good for that. So
yep, absolutely.
I always thought I'd be a pretty good weed trimmer, but I never got into it with my scissor hands.
Duh.
Oh, right.
We always called it giving a nug a haircut.
I know, and I've never done it. It's kind of blasphemous, really.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that we could...
I'm sure there's plenty of trimmers available these days. I mean, who doesn't want to get into that?
You used to be able to make like $40 an hour doing that shit.
Oh, yeah, it's barely minimum wage now.
You're getting minimum wage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's selling pounds of weed.
And no favors.
Yeah, like it used to be you could sling a pound for like, $2,500, like... Even more than that, depending on who you're talking to.
Oh, yeah.
These days, no fucking way, dude.
Yeah, not even close.
Not in the state anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, I know a guy who grows out here, and the trimmers are like the grunts. They're like the janitors, or like not even the janitor, like dishwashers or
they are
whatever.
The dishwashers. Yeah, they're the migrant workers.
Yeah,
the folks who are scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And it used to be, the folks, there were people who would flock to Humboldt County.
I was going to say,
every fall.
Yeah, that was like a migrant job for a while, for sure.
That was what hippies did once the festivals were over. Just go to Humboldt and trim.
Did you ever trim while you lived in Cali?
I never did any Cali trimming.
Yeah.
I've definitely done my time in the trenches up here, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have many regrets, but when I was younger, always heard the tales of like, oh yeah, you can just go out to Northern Cali, get a job, bank, just trim all summer.
The default.
Like,
fuck, man.
Plenty of friends who've been there.
Done that.
Yeah, I've on both sides of the paycheck, but like, I was never down there myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy shit. You would crush it. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm just saying. There's our scissor hands over here.
I mean, yeah, you could probably just do like 2 nugs at once, like,
So if anyone's looking for a new trimmer, you just let me know. My prices have raised slightly for minimum wage these days, though.
I think you could probably be more of like a foreman kind of position, like a trainer maybe.
Oh, see? Just bypass the whole grunt work scene and I'm like straight to management.
You got middle management written all over you. That's that's what I'm trying to say.
Right on. Well, Cool. We're sufficiently bullshitted forever.
I know, right?
What tale you want to regale us with here?
So, this whole I was like kind of racking my brain trying to figure it out, really, and like the whole coming down thing. And well, I have plenty of party stories and all that, just like you guys.
Hey, we're not limited to that.
And I figured that it was just a storytelling thing.
Yeah,
so one of the most sobering moments of my life was when I adopted my niece at 26 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. She was 6. Just about to turn 7 when she finally did come live with me. But yeah, it was super sobering. I had been just partying real hard before that. Like,
That's what I was doing at that
literally the night before I got a phone call from the Nevada Child Protective Services. They were like, so this is the situation, and you're listed as next of kin. Would you like to adopt this child? I was like,
whoa, Jesus.
Can I call you tomorrow? So yeah, there's a lot leading up to that, and that's kind of what I was going to get into, is that, and maybe a little bit of what I've learned since that, not being such a partier.
I mean,
if that's okay.
Yeah.
No,
and now I have a fucking teenager, and I'm like, what did I do? Seriously.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, this sounds great.
No, shoot, because I'm like, I don't want to just like sit here and like tell a story because I'm not that great at that.
No, fair enough. So,
well, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah,
whatever the proverbial beginning.
Yeah, the proverbial beginning would be, I had a shit childhood. My whole family is kind of a collection of different types of degenerated people, and I always just kind of, my sister had 2 kids before she was 16.
Oh, shit.
And I just kind of always knew, she's my younger sister too, by 2 years, so I just kind of always knew that was gonna happen. I was gonna end up with one or both of them at some point. And I would have taken them in because I watched them be born, literally. It's like, I can't let them get lost in the system. I know what that's like. Yeah. It's not good for anyone.
You all grew up in Nevada?
No, that's just where my sister kind of went down to, but I was born in California. We moved up here when I was about 11 or 12.
Okay.
I was born in LA, moved up to Chico, Oroville kind of area.
Okay.
Lived up there for a really long time. Love Northern California.
Yeah.
Love Northern California. But yeah, we moved up here when I was about 11 or 12, and my sister, she and I never got along, which is even kind of like, as my daughter ages, and becomes a teenager in all the forms it comes in, I'm like getting a little bit triggered because I've always kind of had, it was really hard because I had a lot of resentment going into this whole situation with my family. I mean, I left home when I was 16 because I was like, these motherfuckers are crazy. I was like, there's something not right here. Like, I want to get out of here. But yeah, so I was just like, we went to like this high school thing. She's on the precipice of starting high school, and she was real nervous about it, and she's gonna be going to Rex Putnam, which I guess my husband went there and his best friend too, and they're like, it is like High School Musical, like if you're into that kind of thing, it is like the place to be. So she was real nervous about it, but then we went to this like open house, and they're like recruiting for this and that, sports and whatever, and she's like, I'm gonna try out for cheerleading, and I'm gonna be on dance team, and I'm gonna be on leadership and all this stuff, and she's just like super pumped, which I'm like, yay, I'm glad that you're into school, but you are not my kid. This is not how my life was in high school. Yeah, cheerleading? Really? But yeah, I just kind of always knew that it was gonna happen, so I did some real hardcore partying between like, the ages of like 16 and 26.
You're like, I'm gonna need to get
this out real quick, and then
before I get settled with these kids.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy too, because like I've never wanted kids either, right, which is kind of a hard thing for me being a parent. I was like, well, I guess the universe was telling me that I would be a good one, and I'm doing a decent job. She's not pregnant yet, so I guess.
Hey,
right?
Hold on, you're killing it.
She hasn't told me she's hated me once either.
Wow.
Yeah. She's just now 15. Yeah, she's turning 15 in May.
I mean, you're well past the mark where that should have happened already. So
I don't know. She's getting pretty feisty.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like prime age.
Oh no, I mean it'll happen, but like, I'm just saying, like I'm pretty sure like, we'd already burned that bridge with my...
Oh, yeah, I called my mom so many bitches under my breath by this point, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Like, when I was playing Doom and, like, shooting demons with shotguns, occasionally they had a different face on them, you know? Just saying. Just saying. I feel like that's normal.
I love you, Mom.
Oh, they listen to this podcast, too, so... Love you guys. But, yeah, like, fucking... That's kind of intense.
It's super
knowing
intense.
that, like, not only
knowing your fate
that,
almost before it happens.
not only knowing that you're going to have children, but knowing the children that you're going to have
aren't going to be yours.
Well, no, just knowing that is going to
oh,
be
that's going to be my child one day.
That is going to be yours.
Like you're just in a mall and you're picking one out or something. I like that breed.
Not even that.
Sheds a little bit less.
This is what you've been assigned. And, like, you don't know what the deadline is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this doomsday clock that will eventually...
It kind of was. That's
you know?
honestly what it felt like.
And you knew this because your sister was just a raging fuck up, I guess.
I mean, when you have a kid, she literally turned 15, like, the day after she had my oldest niece.
Holy shit.
So, I mean, you hear the stories, and it's just like, you know, when you don't get a childhood, you kind of relive that, you know, growing.
Yeah.
She never got to have any of that, so she just was like, well, you know, Mom's here, she's going to help me or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
She started stripping and, you know, doing drugs and all that stuff, and she kind of just went down that whole spiral, you know?
That really cliche trajectory.
The super fucking cliche trajectory, right? I'm just like, really? God. Yeah. Well, and the funny thing about it is, like, the whole time, I had to go through a whole, like, year and a half worth of, like, kid parent training and classes about adoption, and here, we need to get you certified for foster parenting, and here's a pamphlet. I'm like, hey, maybe all parents should get this.
Yeah, right?
Because
nice.
No shit.
All of this would be bypassed if people would just get a clue. You know?
I mean, like, people want to talk about the government taking too harsh of a role, and, like, I understand, like, Big Brother, etc., but fucking, you need a license to get married. You need a license
for everything,
to drive.
but not to create a human.
You need a license to fish, but as long as you can fuck, you can have kids.
Yep.
You know, like, what the fuck, man?
I've got some. One of my clients used to when I worked downtown at Harem. They
wait. That's a terrible joke.
Nobody gets it, but that's what she meant it to be like. For real though, Harem. It was all women staff. All male clientele.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly how she treated us, too.
That's really bad.
And I have zero nice things to say about this woman or her company, so I don't even care.
I'm just going to go on record as having said, fuck that.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that's a little tacky.
Seriously. Anyway, but when I was working downtown, I left my thought there, and that's where it lies. What was I saying? I'm so bad at that.
No, it's cool. We were talking about you know, how you ended up with your daughter, and you were cutting hair at Harem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's just take it back.
Yeah,
so
let's take it back.
okay,
Good
so
idea.
sister's a major fuck up.
Yeah.
You're partying while she's stripping and partying too.
Yeah.
But you're just sort of knowing that this is all coming down the pipe.
Yeah. In fact, one time my mom actually was like, "Oh yeah, if you want to come take my Jordan, which is my daughter's name that now that I've adopted her, Jordan, if you want to come watch Jordan for us, I'll give you a bag of Coke."
Whoa.
What?
Excuse me?
Okay, this was going to be my next question. You said your family was dysfunctional. I was going to ask about your parents, but I think that kind of says a lot.
My dad's a career criminal. He's been out of prison his whole life, too.
Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Wow. Do you have other siblings?
So I'm the only child between my mom and my dad, who were the main parents growing up. Mm-hmm. My sister has a different dad who was a crackhead, and I guess the only picture my mom had of him was one that she clipped out of a newspaper article.
Shut
up!
Shit.
Of him on the ground with guns to his back. Yeah, that's my sister's.
This yo daddy. Oh my god.
That's the only... She had, like, that picture and, like, one Polaroid of, like, him sleeping with her, like, on his chest when she was an infant.
Wow.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, here's your dad in the Busted magazine.
Yeah,
Pretty
right?
much, yeah. Like, oh, this one, like a yearbook. Fucking yearbook.
Christ.
Wild.
Yeah, like sometimes when I tell the story, I'm just like, I don't even know how I fucking made it out. And that's what I was gonna say before is all the going through the whole process, the year and a half, all the therapists, all the social workers, everybody was like, you know, I talked to, I can't even number how many, and they were like. And I just had to recant my story all the time and like, because they're like digging into you. You're like, I had a fire extinguisher in my apartment and stuff and like a ladder. I'm like, I don't care about myself this much. Like, I don't have a fire extinguisher. Like, so like, they're like, how did you end up the way that you ended up? Like, how are you so not that? And I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I just was like living my life and I like think back on it and I'm just like, I remember thinking in these crazy times that I'm like, this is not fucking right. And that's the only thing I can say is like, this isn't right. I don't live my life like this. I'm getting out as soon as I can.
Yeah.
And
that's why you did when you were 16.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm gone.
That's
Fuck
good.
yeah.
And that didn't fuck you up too bad? Did you, like, still get through high school or anything like that?
I mean, of course it fucked me up. Come on.
Yeah,
We're all fucked up. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
I just said that I was triggered by my daughter's choir concert the other day.
Oh, boy, yeah.
No, like I said, it was like coming up to her going to high school, and when I was in high school, that's kind of where it got bad, because I was kind of experimenting with my sexuality, and like I was dating girls, and my parents didn't like that, and so they were super like really on me even more. And then, my mom was like, oh, I messed around with girls like months later after they like accosted a bunch of people I brought up. I mean, it was bad. Anyways.
Weird.
Yeah, like she was like, I've been in girls. I was like, really? And you fucking treated me like that?
So she shut you down
for stuff,
experimenting, and then later on she's like, oh, I
always with everything I ever did, it was like, oh, I did that, but 2 weeks ago you were like beating my ass for that.
Sorry.
Really? You kidding me?
Sucks.
Wow.
Epitome of like fucking hypocritical. But yeah, like for the most part, like I said, I had a lot of I still do have a lot of resentment about the whole situation, but I never really realized that, like, triggers were, like, a thing. Like, it's really a thing. And, like, went to this choir concert, and I'm like, I feel kind of weird. I'm, like, here at this choir concert, because I sang in choir when I was in high school and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And, so I went outside, and I got home, and I was, like, talking to my husband, and I was like, okay, well, I think this is a whole new set of feelings that I'm going to get with this.
That was surprisingly way more emotional.
Yeah, I was like, it's hot in here. I don't really know what's going on.
Who's cutting onions? Like, it's weird.
This is like emotional because like my daughter's going to high school and where has the time gone? But also like I'm like faced with a lot of memories from when I was in high school and like,
right.
My parents didn't come to my choir that kind of thing.
No,
like any parent goes through those kind of thoughts all the time when their kids kind of reach benchmarks that they had reached in their life, but I feel like mine comes with a whole tailwind. Godwind, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
Right into the future.
Just like, we're having a therapy moment right now.
Yeah, like right now you better get out of here and just kind of feel your feelings and not have to apologize for it later.
Oh, man.
It's nice that I can laugh about it now, though, too.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. It's part of the healing process.
Yeah, laughter is the catharsis, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Like we were talking earlier with the comedic podcast, I mean, like, that's why they all started doing it.
Yeah.
It's been time and time
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
I did that open mic that I did with my bass last year. I was telling one of my clients about it, and she was like, I was like, yeah, I'm doing an open mic. She's like, oh, for comedy? I'm like, I'm funny? I was like, no, it's for my music, but like, I mean, I can adapt.
Yeah, appreciate that you jumped right to that.
Right? Everybody wants to be funny.
Yeah.
Do you have more notes for me?
Right? Let me whip out my notebook here.
Oh, man. So, all right, so you partied for a long time, and your sister was going down a dark road. Like, where were you about when you what were you already like here cutting hair like when you got the call? Like,
I was actually working at the aforementioned Hair M.
Oh, I think that's where we were.
That's where we were, yeah. And I had just gotten the job there.
Okay.
And I was living with, actually this is my second time living with this couple, who later they asked me to ordain their wedding, which was honestly kind of a little bit of a shock because we were like party friends and I lived with them a couple times. And they're like, you're the best roommate ever. Marry us. I was like, okay. But yeah, I lived with them. And the first house, they had their traveler friends coming over, staying in the backyard. Like, I moved in with them. And then the very next week, they went to Burning Man for, like, however long. And so I, like, had the whole house to myself, and it was trashed. And I mean, like, punk nest. Okay? Just, like, super trash. And I'm not a neat freak, but I like things to be, you know, relatively clean and sanitary.
Yeah, sleeping in not trash is great.
I mean, there's no kittens and there's cat turds. So I'm, like, wondering why there's poop in the corner, you know? Boy. They go to Burning Man, and I fucking clean the house. You know? Oh, but they're like, we invited some friends to stay in our backyard, so they'll be coming through. I don't know these people.
Yeah.
Wait, so they invited friends to come over while they weren't there?
Yes! To stay in the backyard and camp. And, like, while I'm all, you know, live your life, whatever, but, like, I don't know you. And they're like, yeah, we can, we told them they could use the house and, like, you know, the shower and stuff. And so it was just, like, there's people.
You know that I live here, right?
Paying rent for this place.
Yeah, you're like, sweet, so just strangers are going to just be rolling around in here at any time, and I have no idea.
Fuck all that noise.
Yeah, we had a lot of good times in that house for sure, including the time where I threw a party. And the entire Hawthorne Strip and tons of other streets, actually, from reports that I've had, were plastered in the show flyer. The house party I was throwing for my friend's birthday. And, like, you walked out to the... And, oh, my God, just so many flyers were on the telephone poles. And, like, I walked out to the street at showtime, basically, and there's just, like, leather. Just people clad in leather, just from every direction coming to this fucking house. And I'm like, this house is, like, 650 square feet in the yard. Just, like, it's so small. The toilet ended up getting broken. Some guy shit himself in front of the fucking fire pit. He was so drunk. It was insane.
God.
Like, 3 bands from Seattle came down and played. It was fucking crazy. It was fucking crazy. Every time, like, there's this one dude that just, like, posted it up at the back door, and he just had, like, a fifth, and that was the toll. Like, you could not fucking pass the door without taking a shot, you know?
Damn.
I think him and I ended his name's actually Pubes, so if you got... Hi, Pubes, if you ever hear listen to this, but...
Wait, Pubes?
That's his nickname, yeah.
Shout out to a man named Pubes.
Yeah, his girlfriend at the time was actually named Kimberly, and he ended up making out with me, and my name's also Kimberly. I didn't hear about what happened after that, but I heard they got in a fight afterwards, but he was like, oh, well, that was you, right? Same name.
What I get out of this story is you made out with a man named Pubes.
I did! He was feeding me bourbon! Like, I didn't have a choice. But these are the kind of parties we threw at this fucking house, right? So, I moved in with them a second time. I had a short stay in a studio down off of Milwaukee Street.
You're like, maybe I need a breather.
Let me get my own spot for a minute, see how this goes. Honestly, I was paying like $550 for a freaking 600 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment in Portland.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
are you kidding me?
It used to be affordable.
And I was like struggling to pay rent then too.
Yep. When we moved out here, we had a 2-bedroom, like 600 square foot for $600.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
you know, long gone are those days.
I lived in some flop houses here. Like, I had a fucking laundry room for like $175.
Yeah.
You know, those were glorious times.
A laundry room.
It was enormous. It had a shower and like...
Hey man, that's all you need.
It had like a big sink.
You could wash your clothes.
Yeah,
That's more than a lot of people in Portland have in their apartment.
I mean, I want to say that room was as big as this room.
For the listener at home, this
Wait,
room is...
the laundry room?
Yeah.
That's bigger than a lot of people's apartments.
Yeah, like, but it was a concrete floor, and it looked like it was the kill room from a slaughterhouse.
Just plastic everywhere.
Just like a drain in the center.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we called it the kill room.
Yep.
And that
I
was
love
my
it.
room for $175.
I love it.
Oh, we called it it was in the littlest mansion. I love those. Fucking shout out to all those folk.
So yeah, the party of the century at the freaking house off of Powell and 73rd, I think it was. I drive by it sometimes and I'm like, what even is this neighborhood? I don't even know, which is half the time I drive around in Portland these days.
Oh,
but yeah, so the second time I moved in with them, like I had my brief stay over at the place over off of Milwaukee Street, super cheap rent.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah, so I was there. I was going to beauty school. And I had just graduated, and I worked at the Barber's briefly, and then I took some time off, and then I did a year-long apprenticeship while I was living there too. And then flash forward, I'm over off of Terwilliger Boulevard. I'm on the fucking west side.
What the fuck?
Never thought it'd happen.
You go from punk rock Flophouse.
Same punk rock Flophouse, just we moved to the west side, and I'm like, it doesn't work the same.
No.
Nobody wants to cross the river. Are you kidding me?
Nope. No.
So we had less punk parties there, more kind of regular parties there,
Okay,
but
more bougie parties.
bougier punk parties.
I don't know.
It became more of a practice space for the other guy that was living in the garage for his band, and the two, Dom and Kendra, the people I was living with, they had a band. Actually, I think they're actually still playing. They live in Eugene now.
Oh no shit.
And their band's called Contagious. I don't know if you've heard of it. I know you guys are kind of from that area, but yeah, they're it's kind of crazy because like they started that band in the first house, and I listened to them kind of starting that whole thing, and it was kind of painful. I'm not gonna lie.
It always is.
It always
fucking
is.
is.
And then like I hadn't seen them for a couple years, and I adopted my niece and all that stuff, and then they gave me the call, and I saw them play for their whole wedding. They did a whole thing, and I was like, whoa, you guys are I was like really proud of you. I was like, wow, I like you with your shirt off. That's great. But anyways, the second house over off of Terwilliger, it was a fucking bitchin' house, you guys. It had like a spiral staircase up to like a loft bedroom. And it was probably, now that I have spatial awareness about how much an acre actually is, now that I have a house, it was probably on like a 9,000 square foot lot.
Jesus.
I'd say maybe 8 or 9,000. It was pretty big. It was gorgeous. But yeah, we had thrown tons of parties there, and we had thrown a non-Halloween party. So I wanted to throw a Halloween party because I love Halloween and costumes and shit. And John and Kendra were like, I don't want to throw a Halloween party. But we threw a party like 3 or 4 days before Halloween for some reason, and then it just wasn't a Halloween party. And so, whatever, people weren't in costume, but it was October.
You throw a party like within 2 weeks of Halloween.
It's a fucking Halloween party, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Doesn't
so
matter.
there's just hella people there, and like, my friend that I was talking about earlier, Pubes, his buddy was there, and him and I kind of had a fleeting thing over the years, But I was like talking to him. I actually ran into him recently, and I was like talking about like, dude, I don't even know where I would be if I didn't adopt my niece, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really feel like it was like a serious fork in the road of my life. I feel like in a lifetime you have a couple of those, where you're like, one way will lead to certain death. And then, the grass is always fucking greener, right? So I was like, well, if I don't adopt and I was fucking just really, I knew it was what I was meant to do, I knew, like I've been saying the whole time, I kind of knew. But we had thrown this huge ass party, the non-Halloween party, and the next day I was literally so fucking hungover, I just like rolled out of my bed onto the floor.
Yup.
And I like crawled to the bathroom to take the piss that I'd been waiting to take for like 6 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, when you're so hungover, you're like, I can hold it.
I'm just I can't. I'm gonna throw up. I know it.
Yep.
So I did that, and I was like sitting on the floor, kind of smoking a bowl, and just like trying to like acclimate to life again. And my cell rings, and I'm like, this unknown number, and I answer it, and it's like I said, it's fucking Nevada.
God, the fucking one time you answer the phone when you're hungover.
Well, back then I had a flip. It wasn't even like this. Was way before smartphone. honestly, I didn't even get my first cell phone until I was like 21. So I didn't even get my first smartphone until the iPhone fucking 5 was probably still out, to be honest. Like, I didn't even get my first smartphone until then. So I had,
Don't get me started on
the
not
little,
having a
like,
phone.
slide-up full keyboard fucking situation, which I miss the keyboard, you guys.
Don't get me started on mechanical
I'm like,
keyboards.
I have that phone still. I kept it. But yeah, I fucking got a phone call and I answered it because you don't screen calls back then. You know, I didn't have to worry about scam callers on your cell phones back then. So I answered it, and they were like, you know, it sounded super official. And I was like, oh, what? Oh, wait. And then she started talking and she was like, yeah, this is so-and-so from, you know, the state of Nevada, Child Services. And is this Kimberly, my last name at the time, you know? And, I was like, yeah, it is. And she's like, well, your mom put your name down as next of kin in case a situation arises, and you have first dibs. She's up for adoption right now, and her biological father has this amount of time to respond to it.
Wow.
But he's
nowhere.
action.
I mean, honestly, that's another story in and of itself, but he's originally from Arkansas. And when I moved out at 16, my sister was 14. And she had been talking online with some dudes, rappers in Arkansas, and for some reason my parents let him and two of his fucking rap buddies move to Oregon from Arkansas and live with them.
Get out of here.
In their fucking house.
How old were they?
I mean, he's my age, so 2 years older than my sister. So she's like, she had so my youngest, or my older.
They were 16.
Yeah, they were probably 16, 17, probably. Yeah.
Man, I just had this fear that they were like 20.
That's
what
I
was thinking. Moving in with this like 14-year-old and her
Thankfully, they weren't, but they definitely turned of age before she did. You know?
Oh god.
And I was like, what the fuck? Are you really? I couldn't even fucking go out with my friends if I wanted to hang out once a week. Right. You know, it's just like. The younger siblings get away with murder.
Literally.
Truth. They do. Truth. They get away with everything. I mean, it on the extreme side of things in my case, but, you know, in general.
Don't even get me started. It's just going to be my motto for this fucking podcast.
We're just getting started.
out of deference for my family, I will not speak on this, but yeah, younger siblings.
They do, and younger siblings across the world can attest.
Yeah, no, it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a fucking thing. But yeah, so where was I at?
Well, so I guess what I want to know is, you know, what happened?
What happened? So my sister moved down to. When I was living on.
Why are you getting this call?
Why did you get the call?
Okay, I always forget about this part. So I was living at that little one-bedroom apartment on Milwaukee Street, and my mom, she had a really rough upbringing and stuff, and she was always trying to be like the cool one, you know what I mean? And so she was like, oh, so my sister had 2 kids, and then she's like, started hanging out with some Blazers back in the day.
Trailblazers?
Yeah, there was like one Trailblazer, what was his name? I can't even remember his fucking name, but she was like hanging out with this guy, and she got like fucking like one of his fucking hoe tramp stamps or whatever, and like my mom was like, ooh, I'm gonna jump on this fucking bandwagon. She's got it going on, right? And so she's like fucking basically my sister's pimp at this point.
What your mom was pimping your sister out to one of the jail
45 at this point and not in good health and not in good shape. And she's just like out at these fucking strip clubs, hanging out with these fucking young kids, doing coke with them, and like I'm at Safari Clubs, which is no longer there. I just saw they tore it down.
Yeah, it's down.
But I do want to say, Safari, your sign that said butt stuff, amazing. Amazing.
I concur. I saw that sign.
Every time I drove by there after that, I was looking for some kind of give me the goods. Give me the goods. But yeah, I actually went there to pick up some keys or something because I was going to pick up Jordan because they were at the fucking strip club doing coke and whatever, and I like get there and my sister's on stage dancing naked and my mom's sitting at the fucking like table right next to her just like with a cane.
With a cane. What?
Fucking cane. With a
She
cane.
also have a diamond encrusted cup
She wishes.
and a grill.
She wasn't that good with the money.
She's, I mean, rhinestone encrusted.
Yeah. No.
Cape, maybe?
I think she might have had a diamond in her dentures. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm trying to make your mom out to be some kind of fantasy pimp.
She wanted to be like, if you want to picture her like that, you can. No. But just know, if you do picture her like that, she's wearing Depends and has dentures.
Oh my god! And she's on a cane.
She has a cane. It's not a fancy cane. It's actually an orthopedic one.
Was she always was your mom always a partier, or was this like a midlife crisis thing?
No,
like, let's start doing coke in my 40s thing.
She left home when she was in 7th grade. Like she was the youngest of 8 kids in the 60s.
Oh shit.
So she just kind of was like, I'm out, you know. So she had a rough upbringing. She actually met my dad when she was hitchhiking on the side of the road. No, one of them was hitchhiking. I can't remember which one. One of them was, I think it was, my mom was hitchhiking and my dad picked her up and they went out to the park and she played guitar. She had like a bunch of her own blues bands and stuff growing up, and she's always been an amazing singer and musician, but yeah, she played songs for him in the park or whatever, and they stopped to get beer, and he had like a knife slid down into his boot, and like, you know, he has a prosthetic leg, and so he's kind of walking with a limp, and my dad's a 6'8", like, you know, almost 300-pound black dude. Those are kind of indicative of situations, you know. I don't want to like make any assumptions, but she was like, maybe I should go, but she didn't, and now I'm here. So, come to find out, is a beginning of a long string of really bad decisions. Actually, it was probably in the middle of a lot of really just lifelong situations, you know. But yeah, so my parents are both kind of victims of their own circumstances, because my dad was actually adopted. He was born in Germany in 1947 and to a Russian mom and a black dad who was traveling in the military and was put up for adoption, and adopted by another traveling war family and brought to America. Which is kind of crazy. And so, like, he was brought to South Central LA, basically, and he grew up down there with a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, foster family in South Central?
You know?
Can't imagine why.
So, yeah.
Jesus.
In and out of prison his whole life. My dad, I saw him first time after like 8 years a few years ago. He had been in prison for like 8 years. This last time he's like what's the year, 1947? 72. And he was just like, I don't even know, dude. It's just kind of fucking crazy. When you've lived your life in prison, you're a whole nother kind of person.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
What did he go to prison for?
This last time was for, and that's what I was actually getting to.
Okay, all right.
He went to prison for getting a legitimate prescription for OxyContin from his doctor and making copies and distributing. He was so he's just like the dumb fuck of the year award. Distributing all of these fucking prescriptions in Gresham pharmacies. Like, didn't disperse them throughout Oregon. Like, nah, smart about it. Just all through Gresham. Got caught selling it. I mean, he was fucking making bank, you know, obviously. But, yeah, he got clipped. And I was he also did real heroin, too. So, you know, there's that.
You know, I mean, you want to diversify your portfolio.
You know?
Fuck.
So this has become like when drugs become really bad. You know, not just having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, OxyContin was what got him.
Yeah.
The last time.
So, I guess, like, this is what I was wondering. So there was no, like, tragedy with your sister?
There's no tragedy. She's just a crack whore in Vegas, basically. Wow. So my dad got hot. Some shit went down at the house with some people that he owed something to. I don't know. But my sister was like, fuck this. I'm going to Vegas. I got some fucking people down there I'm going to go with. So she takes Jordan, flies to Vegas, obviously we've established that she can get around on the internet and meet people. So she's probably meeting people in Vegas, Sin City, where she can make money doing what she does.
Right.
So my mom, later on when I asked her, like, why the fuck did you just leave, And she's like, I just wanted to go and make sure that baby was going to be okay. Which I do believe, you know. Of course. I do believe that she was trying to make sure that the baby was okay. But she went down there, and they were down there for probably 3 years, because Jordan was 3 when they all went down there. And then my dad went to prison. And so my mom and my sister are in Vegas. And we already established that my mom was, kind of her wingman.
Yeah.
Right. So they were doing all of their...
They set up shop in Vegas.
Yeah, so they basically set up shop in Vegas. So
wow.
And then it, the meth kind of came into play and all that stuff.
Yep.
So
okay, yeah. I mean that adds a certain X factor to the proceedings.
All makes sense. Now, your sister had 2 kids?
2. Well, now 3. Maybe a year ago, I found out that she just had a 3rd child that was adopted.
So Jordan was she the second kid?
She was the second kid.
So what happened to the first?
Tasia, who has a family, her family has money, and they formally had the money to be able to go through the proceedings and get the daughter legally, and so she's quote unquote fine.
That happened early on.
She was 5. So Jordan was 3 when she got taken with her dad's biological family.
Okay.
They took her. So she's been relatively fine. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I imagine
honestly, every person in her dad, Tasia's the oldest. She had Tasia when she was 14, turned 15 the day after. And then, my parents fucking let her go live with her boyfriend at 15. What the fuck do you think is gonna happen? The first time they had sex, she got fucking pregnant. Are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
But every person in her dad's family has had kids before the age of 16. Every single one. And the mom has 4 or 5 kids. All of them. Kids before 16.
Wow.
Her. 3 kids before 16. So I'm like, she's not pregnant. She'll be, Jordan's gonna be 15. She'll be 17 in June. Tasia will. So she doesn't have any kids yet, so that's good. But
breaking the cycle.
Her parent, her biological dad and his new wife, they have 2 kids, and she basically is now their babysitter all the time, and she doesn't have a phone. She doesn't get to go do anything ever. And she, every once in a while when I get to talk to her or see her, and, she's like, I'm just doing what I have to do until I turn 18. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I wish I could take
Yeah, so relatively
fine. I wanted them both.
Yeah.
Aww.
But I couldn't. I didn't have any rights to the first one,
So what was the catalyst to get the call? Did your sister get in trouble then?
Honestly, I don't really know the exact events, but from what my daughter's told me from some of the memories that she's kind of have come to her mind over the years, that they were just living in squalor, and she never ate, and she was super emaciated when I got her, and
shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was bad. I felt really, she was a kindergartner, and she was so skinny. She would hide her food in her room, and it was
Fucking hell.
It was really sad to see her like that, but
so it was just a squalor meth flop house situation.
Pretty much, yeah.
And CPS caught wind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the whole time I was growing up, they knew us by name.
Yeah.
They knew our family by fucking name.
God damn it.
And when I was going through this whole adoption process, they were like, oh yeah, here's all your records, and they just rolled out the scroll, basically. And I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. It got to the point, that neighbor that just will fucking call the cops if you breathe in their direction the wrong way. Yeah. That was my mom. Even though she's the one who's fucking nutsoid. Right. And like I said, my mom has a lot of her own. And I'm just gonna say that all of this is a testament to not dealing with your fucking shit. Okay? You need to realize your contributors and fucking work through it, or you're just gonna create this avalanche of shit through your whole life, and you're gonna bring people into it.
Damn straight.
You know, and she never dealt with her shit, ever. And so she was just fucking crazy, and she still is. You know? And, like, I remember my mom as being my age, actually. I just finally, I'm 34 now, and the mom I like to remember is 34, you know, where she was playing her music and young, and she wasn't, like... But then when I look back on stuff, I'm like, oh, my God. She was taking me to fucking tricks houses.
Oof.
We lived in our car a lot when I was growing up. And, like, wow. I've been telling this story, actually, a lot recently with my clients. And it's, like, I'm just honestly, like, still, like, memories are kind of coming to me from my childhood that I'm like, oh, my God, I didn't have any fucking idea, you know? Yeah. But she would take me to these fucking guys' houses because she told me that she was a fucking call girl, basically.
Wow.
That's how she made her money. And, like... Then I was like, oh, that makes sense. She asked us to act like she would bring us into these fucking guys' houses. And she'd be like, she'd prep us before we went in. She's like, okay, you know, hang out and be cute and then pretend like you're sleeping so maybe he'll let us stay the night there. And they never did. Oh, obviously, they never did. They never fucking did.
Jeez.
Yeah, so...
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, this stuff's gonna just come up for years for you, too.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, it's just like little triggers here and there. And like, luckily I have an amazing fiance, or actually husband now. Sorry, I don't know why I say fiance. He's my husband now, who, you know, knows that everybody has their fucking shit.
Yeah.
And don't fucking pretend that you don't, because everybody has a little something. And even if you had like the greatest childhood, there's something, you know, from high school, some bully or whatever.
Actually, the episode that we're putting out, the timeline's going to be weird. The episode that we're actually putting out tonight was one that I did with my mom. And, like, I did have a good childhood.
You did it with your mom?
Yeah, totally.
So cute.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
It's a great episode, but it's crazy because there's stuff in there that... I mean, you can hear my mind get blown several times in the episode where I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
That's why you guys got divorced?
Yep.
That was what that fight was about? Like,
kids don't know shit. Like, you think you know, but you fucking don't know.
No,
As much as I'm pretending to, like, I try to hide shit from my daughter, and, like,
Yeah, but honestly, though, like, this really puts it into context. Like, it's a really good thing that you ended up with your daughter, especially, like... You know, with your history with your mom, like, you know, fuck. I mean,
it is.
You know, when this shit comes to light for her, you can be like, that fucking
I don't know
sucks,
where I would be. Like, if I had chosen the other direction. I mean, as my friend said, I was like, Pube's friend, what's it? I don't know his name. I'm not gonna name anybody. I don't know his name. Scroat. But anyways.
It's Pube's friend Scroat.
Yeah, right? Merkin.
Pube's friend Scroat told me, I was like, I don't even know where I would be if I didn't adopt her. And he was like, dead. I was like, what? That's a little extreme.
Damn. Dude, walk that back, buddy.
This is coming from the guy who 15 minutes before this conversation happened told me that he likes crack. So his perspective is a little bit diminished.
So a man who dabbles in crack told you that you would be dead without your daughter.
So,
questioning your life.
You have it there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm alive because of her. Yeah. But I also might die because of her because she's about to be 15 in a couple months and we're on our roller coaster of teenagehood.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what though, like...
And she's just like my sister. Oh my god, you guys. I just need to say that really quick. She is... And it's so weird because it's like she's not my sister. I have to like mantra that and like talk to my husband about it. And he's like, I know, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. She's not her, you know? But it's crazy because I did a fucking... And so many instances of my life has come back to this one paper that I wrote in high school about cloning, okay? And the thesis of my paper was how even if you are identically and biologically the same as another individual, your life experiences aren't going to be the same.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And so the argument was, like, are they going to, you know, have a lot of innate attributes, or are they going to pick up... And it is. Like, it's a cross between a lot of things, but to be honest... nature wins every fucking time. And, like, she is so much like my fucking sister, despite the fact that she's been with me now more than she has been with her.
Right.
And it is fucking crazy. She looks just like her. She sounds just like her. Like, the things that, like, cheerleading, I mean, the things that she's into, I'm just like, this is not my kid. But then I'm like, my sister is pretty much the exact opposite of everything that I am. So it's like, your kids always try to rebel from you.
Right.
You're from their parents. You know what I mean?
Right.
They try to be everything you're not.
Right.
And so she's just innately that way.
Oh, exactly. No,
and it's
100%.
It's like my whole life is like a psychological experiment, and I'm intuitive enough to like be able to watch it and also be going through my own shit at the same time. I can live outside myself of that enough to like see these things happening, and it's just kind of crazy.
Well, let's be real. I mean, if you're a teenager growing up in a house where there's a Star of Baphomet on the Christmas tree, how the fuck else are you gonna rebel other than going hard on the preppy thing? You know?
Yeah, right.
I totally do. That's so funny.
I'm just saying, like, I know you well enough.
Yeah, we did. My husband and I have a satanic themed Christmas tree every year. Although this year we didn't. It's our it was our first year in our new house, and my daughter was like, "Can we just have a regular tree?" So I said, so we retired Baphomet.
Can we just have normal Christmas? Fine, I guess.
You know.
Yeah. Right. You know, I guess it's pretty metal, like having the corpse of a tree in your
No big deal. This is a real shrunken head here, actually. I don't know if you knew that.
I mean, we're still going to do the goat roast, but, you know.
just like hang some raw meat from it.
Actually, there's this fucking sick website that I found, Middle Beyond. Dude, they have everything you ever want that is awesome, basically. So, fucking Sasquatch, Mr. Rogers button-up sweaters. They have fucking the Necronomicon Christmas ornament. You got fucking Ash over here. They have, if you want to fucking start a satanic themed Christmas tree, you guys, please go to Middle Beyond and you will have everything you need from every slasher film ever.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Sponsors.
That's right. Sponsors. But no, I'm serious. It's fucking sick.
Hell
sick.
yeah.
But.
So now my question is, how quickly were you able to like flip a dime? Like, and so you get the call. Like, when do you pick her up? Is it like the next day?
That's
or
it's like it's not the next day. So I get the call, and like it was. So let me think about the timeline. So I moved into that house on Terwilliger. I started Harem in August of 2010. I got the call in October, and I started going through the whole process of the adoption and stuff, all the classes. And then I was, my social worker was setting up a meeting because it's been like 3 years since I'd seen her. And she was like, we're going to fly you out there. And
you're a social worker.
Yeah.
From when you were a kid.
Well, it wasn't the same lady. No,
okay,
not from when I was a kid. And we had many, they get burnt out. They shuffle.
It's true. I've only had one social worker, but I can speak to this.
But anyways, so it was a different social worker, but she was like, all right, we need to do a meet and greet because you haven't seen her for very long and she's going to be living with you permanently. Like, we need to acclimate her to this situation, you know?
Absolutely.
And which is understandable. And so like I had talked to, you know, the queen of Harem, and I was like, look, this is the situation. And I said, or wait, the proper term would probably be madam.
Yeah, right.
The madam of Harem. I like to call her the Ice Queen. I always did.
Wait, would it be MAD since it's... I'm sorry.
Madam
Harem.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Please don't be, because we're just punctuating that, and I need the world to know that she was fucking bitch.
It's fucking terrible. God damn it.
I mean, if there's any justification, please tell me that this isn't. When I left, 5 people quit after me, and then I found out that like 5 or 7 people were suing her.
Oh.
for stealing money, because she definitely was, and I fucking got a phone call from my old manager, as per their lawyer's request. We're calling you to let you know that you're going to be receiving a check in the mail for $200, and what that's in regards to is, we were supposed to get some signatures for this and that we were taking money out of your check, and I was like, what?
Oh, y'all.
Your $200 hush money is not going to shut me up, because I will fucking testify for free. For free. Anyways.
Fuck. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack us there, but, that is bullshit.
Anyways, so timeline is...
Well, so you had to get your own place, right?
Yeah, I had to get... Yeah, I was living on Terwilliger with these people.
She can't move into the burner house.
No! No one's gonna write off on that.
It's cool. We just have some friends who are coming to stay with you while we're gone.
Right.
No big deal.
Oh my god, let me circle back around and tell you guys. So I cleaned
There's a guy named Pubes who hangs out. Don't worry about him. He's harmless.
His buddy Scroat cleans the pool. It's all good. I don't know why you have a pool.
So the first house we lived off of, 73rd and Powell, I fucking cleaned it from top to bottom, you guys. You could have eaten off the floor. I lived in this house. I kept all the windows and doors locked because those people were there, and they found a way in every day. I was sleeping, and I went to go to use the bathroom, and he's walking out of the bathroom, and I was just like, anyways,
why are you here?
I'm like, what's going on? So I'm sitting on the couch, so I have the whole week to myself while they're at Burning Man, and I cleaned it from top to bottom, and I'm sitting on the couch when they come home, and they just it's something out of a fucking movie, because they just kick the door open, and they're just these two hulking masses in the fucking doorway, just covered head to toe in dust.
Yep.
I mean, I envisioned them with gas masks on, but I'm sure they weren't wearing them at this point. But they were just it's so clean. And they don't know where to go in their own house because it's too clean.
Don't want to get play on this shit.
I definitely lived with a guy who returned from Burning Man, and it was like a dude from Mad Max just walked back into the house.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's aged 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen some shit, dude.
Dude, and the fucked up thing is, the dirt... I don't know what the dirt in Australia is like. But, I mean, if it's anything like the dirt on the playa...
Yeah.
It will literally suck the life out of you. It will create boils on your skin.
Well, that playa dust is alkali heavy.
Yeah, it is.
So
that's why they call them alkali flats.
Yeah, totally. And it just gets in everything. It's super fine.
Yeah. Fuck that noise.
Just cakes cakes everything. It destroys clothing. It's crazy.
I was out there one year when it rained, and anyway.
These are from Australia.
Oh, sick!
My friend was like, I brought you some rocks from Australia.
I love that you brought us some rocks from Australia.
I came here from there, so I had them in my purse, but I don't always carry rocks in my purse, but when I do, they're from Australia.
For our listeners at home, Kimberly was talking to some friends from Australia before she came to hang out with us, so it's not just for us that she brought these rocks from, but I just
thought it was random you guys mentioned Australia, and I was like, I'm
touching Australian rocks right now.
Nice.
Yeah. And for those who are viewing us through their simulation viewers...
I hope the tactile response is up to your, measure.
Exactly. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better myself. Apparently the psychic link is working now. Anyway, so... where were we?
So you had to move out. Right. I think that's where we were trying to go.
So it was the meet and greet. You were in the fucking den of sin.
Yeah.
And you had to make it right.
Yeah. So I got a place. I don't even know why, you guys.
Why you decided to do
on this specific place. Yeah. I mean, every day I'm like, what the fuck did I do? But I don't know why, but I was just like, I gotta think about schools and stuff, and I mean, I went to this middle school and it was fine, so I guess I'll move over there. And so I moved from...
Good as reason to... Yeah.
Right? I was it was alright, I'm here, and I'm fucking fine.
You thought about it, you made logical connections,
I don't even know, dude.
It's fine.
Anyway, so I was like, I'm gonna move into the exact apartment that I lived in, basically. when I was a kid in this apartment complex.
Okay, no, I question that. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't the exact apartment, but like, you know how apartment buildings, they all kind of look the same.
Yeah.
And
It doesn't
like,
matter if it's the exact apartment.
it's
You're
the
still
same
living in the
complex.
exact apartment.
Okay, it's the same complex. I don't know why, but something compelled me to do that. So I did. I was like, this school's fine. I know
You
these
needed to work some
apartments.
shit out,
I
apparently.
guess, and that's what I'm saying. It's like this is not just like a story of like me adopting my daughter. It's a story of me going through free therapy.
Yeah.
Free therapy at my doorstep.
Yep.
Fucking right in my face every day, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing better.
Deal with your shit.
No, right now.
Immediately.
Right fucking yesterday.
Yeah. Wow.
So I go back to this fucking apartment complex where I have a lot of other stories that went from that's where I first smoked weed. My mom gave me my first hit of weed when I was 12 years old at that apartment complex. But
So she was one of those moms.
she was one of those moms, yeah, always sneaking me fucking, I remember going on camp trips and she would like sneak me mushrooms and stuff.
Wow.
Oh,
But-
mushrooms.
Yeah.
We didn't have one of those
No,
moms.
what are those?
We had a weed mom, but
I mean,
mushrooms moms.
Yeah, she
We
would
even
just
had a beer
like
mom, but
shove, like, specifically remember a moment when like we were driving down the highway going to get some snacks at the local store at the beach or whatever, and she just like reaches her hand over and just like shoves fucking something in my mouth like this, and I'm just like, what is this, a stick? Like, I don't even know.
Whoa, she just like dosed her kid?
She dosed me.
so how old are you in this picture?
14?
Wild.
Wow.
15,
So,
maybe 15, maybe.
I don't remember when I first ate mushrooms.
Yeah, I was 14. But I didn't have someone shove them in my mouth. I made a fucking
Well,
choice.
the first time,
Yeah.
I mean, I went with it. I was like, it's my mom, whatever. I'm just gonna fucking,
Yeah.
eat it.
Wow.
I knew what it was. I wasn't a fucking complete idiot, but I
Sure,
was
sure.
like, I knew that they had that around, and like, my parents have always been stoners, and we
Yeah.
was
Right.
always like, around and stuff.
God damn.
But
That's
yeah,
wild.
I was like,
that's raw.
I guess I'm
fucking
eating
dog
this
right there.
now.
Well, you're like, it's not like you smoked a little weed and like you're gonna be like mostly normal within like an hour or two.
Yeah.
Like you're just tied
She
in
gave me, it
for
was a
like
cap that was probably
6
like,
hours.
I don't know, maybe 3 inches in
I
diameter.
want to say
Wow.
4 hours minimum.
Yo,
like,
Oh yeah,
Easy.
I just was gone, you guys. I got
Yeah.
back. We got back from the store, and I just like started walking on the beach, and I just didn't stop, and I just kept going. And then
Yeah.
before I knew it, I was like, "Where am I?" I was like, I'm so many miles away from our campsite. This is like we actually were camping on the beach too.
Just you and your mom?
No, it was me and my mom and my dad, and I don't think my younger. She might have been there. I don't know. I usually tried to forget that she was alive, but my mom's stoner friends, one of which was named Rain.
Yeah.
Of course.
My mom was like
Cube Senior.
a hippie from the 60s and 70s.
Look at his Pube's grandfather. Rain.
Maybe I never thought about it. Maybe.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so I went down there, and okay, I did go down there. It was March, 2011.
Uh-huh.
And
you went to Vegas.
This was the visitation meeting, right? And then I was going to fly it. The state of Nevada paid for all of this, obviously, because, it's the adoption foster program and stuff. And so they paid for it. But like a week before so I talked to the Ice Queen, and I was like, this is what's going on in my life right now. I need to leave. Right now, I need to be gone, like, whatever. So
Right.
she let me go, which is nice.
The madam released you from your
The
imprisonment.
madam released me. And so I go... But the week before I left, the social worker from Vegas calls me and she's like, "We've had a situation." Like, more?
No.
Wait,
Have you? I mean, because I'm
So you
pretty
got a
sure
call
there's been
after the call?
a call after the call, and she's like, "The foster family that Jordan's been staying at is being shut down for abuse."
What the
No.
I guess she had like 2 or 3 kids and she wasn't feeding them and she was just like taking the money and like all this stuff.
Oh, so she went from one neglect house where at least she had an actual parent to just being in another neglect house. And for how long?
Isn't that how the foster system works? I'm pretty sure most of the time.
Yeah,
for every good one
I'm not gonna deny that.
Every good foster family there is a equally, but maybe lesser foster family that is.
I've heard about the factory foster
so,
families.
they got shut down, and so they're like, you're going to be taking her back with you.
So there was.
I was like,
there was no
wait,
let's see if this works.
I wasn't supposed to take her until June. This is March. I wasn't ready at all mentally. I mean, I didn't even have a fucking bed.
Yeah.
Well, I literally had just moved into this apartment that I used to live in when I was a kid, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, hold on. There was no interview on your end? Like, they weren't like, let's see what your shit is like so that we can make sure that it's
between
gonna be
the
okay?
months of, they called me in October, between the months of October and March, I had been interviewing with people and like going to this foster class. So they did do like a vetting process. We had started the vetting process.
Sure, but they didn't like come to your house? Because that seems like
I think a person came one time to make sure I had a place.
I think when you're moving a kid, when it's like blood relation and you're moving a kid.
When it's blood relation, it's way different than if it's just like, a stranger relation.
Hopefully this will be better.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, like, fuck, they let people have kids just because they have genitals. So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
As we discussed, so, okay, that's crazy.
Fuck.
Yeah, so she gives me a call and she's like, it's getting shut down because of this and that. And you're going to need to take her back with you.
Yeah, timeline's getting moved up.
So I was like,
Jesus.
freaking out, you guys. Seriously. I was like, I'm not fucking ready. Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not fucking mentally ready for this. I was just fucking obviously smoking crack like a month ago for my friend, you know? No, I wasn't. I've never done crack. Never in my life.
Allegedly.
But no, I was just like partying and now I'm like, okay, I'm not ready. So I fly down and I have to be ready. So at this point I was still talking to my mom, but not a lot, just enough to kind of keep her informed and stuff. Sure. And she just has a way of just like, you know, moms have that way. So I was like, you know, this is the kind of woman that you can't have a conversation with without her just fucking 3 minutes in just bawling, you know. And it's just like, she's crying, like, and then she's just kind of crazy, and it's just like, I'm not going to tell her that I'm coming down there. I'm not going to tell her about the situation. I'm just going to get in and out. I'm just going to fucking come back home and, like...
Good moves.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like,
wise.
I just don't want to fucking deal with all of it, you know? So they put me up at this motel, and I fly down, and we had, like, kind of a meet and greet. Like, I went to the foster... It was weird, because we went to the foster house that was getting shut down, because she was still there.
Wait. She's still in this place?
Yeah. Which I thought was really fucking weird, that, oh, you have to take her right now, but this place is getting shut down, but she's here still.
Like, they didn't have a better place to move her.
I guess not.
Fuck.
And so we go and pick her up, and, like, we do kind of, like, a day date kind of thing, and, like, we go to, like, it's kind of a little, I'm sure it's, like, some kind of social services building or whatever, but it's, like, this little play place, you know? And so we're hanging out, and we get some coffee or whatever, and then, like, the next day, she comes with me to my motel room, and she's mine now. And I'm ordering fucking spaghetti off of this weird menu at this fucking, and I'd never been to Vegas before, and so I was really thirsty and I wanted some water, and so I fucking got some water out the tap, and that was the worst decision I ever made.
Never, ever.
And I was like, ah! They're poisoning me and giving me the sexual. What's my life? So, but yeah, because I didn't tell my mom, apparently, because, you know, my family's crazy, my mom and the foster home where Jordan was living, the lady and my mom were friends. And she found out that I was in town.
Yikes.
And blew up my phone. I mean, like, I had, like, fucking 26 missed calls from this bitch, okay? And I was like, I'm just gonna ignore it. And then she left, like, 4 voicemails. And I listened to them a couple of times, you know, over the course of the next few months, just to really solidify my decision to completely cut them out of my life.
I was gonna say, yeah.
You know, and I had told them, and I was like, I had a super deep conversation with my dad before they came and raided my mom's house. It was Father's Day, and I came to visit him, and I was like, he was fucking high on fucking heroin, just off his ass. Didn't even fucking realize it was there, but I was like, you need to fucking quit, Dad. Like, he takes fucking nitroglycerin for his heart, you know what I mean? Like,
what?
He's fucking 60-something years old, you know? Like, you're not a fucking young gangster. What are you doing? Like, I literally said this to him. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Does he bang his fucking smack with nitroglycerin?
Probably.
Jesus.
I mean, honestly, let me tell you, I don't know, because he had one of the miniature Visine bottles that he would take the cap off and mix his little fucking snorty stuff in there and just...
Oh my god.
Yep. So I don't know what the fuck was in that concoction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting it done.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. But yeah, so I fucking begged him. I was like, Dad, this is fucking crazy. Look at what our family has fucking become. Are you kidding me right now?
Right.
Yeah.
Look at this. Like, my mom had literally just showed me a fucking bullet hole that had gone through one of the baseboards of her bed because some guys came to the fucking house freaking out with guns. And then the next week, like, fucking raided and all that shit, you know? I'm just like...
Wow.
I told them, I was like, if I end up with one or both of these kids, I'm never talking to you guys again. Ever.
I think that is a pretty good rule.
You know? Because fucking look at you!
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that if my drunk, partying, punk rock ass ends up with any of these kids, that's on you.
That's on you, not me!
And fuck y'all.
Yeah.
If somehow
like, they're
I'm
gonna give
the person who
me,
ends up
I'm
with
the better choice here? Like, what is going on? I'm cutting you off because obviously you're a bad influence on me.
I could barely fucking guide this goddamn ship, but somehow I'm the one? Like, yeah, no, I get that. Like,
yeah.
And I'm still like, what? I'm still like, what?
Oh, I'm sure.
No, I get
Every
that.
day.
I'm sure it never feels
It
real.
never fucking feels real. Ever, you guys.
Like,
It's just...
we've talked about it when I'm in the chair. Like, fucking, that shit is crazy.
Yeah.
And you're killing it though. I mean, like, think about it. I mean, her MO right now is to be as prep as possible. Like, I know you hate it, but you've succeeded. Like,
At least she's not pregnant, though, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she's not pregnant.
And she's super,
not strung
you
out.
guys, she's super puritanical. Like, she's like, I'm saving myself from marriage, and I'm like, I don't tell her that. I'm like, I don't tell her,
like,
but I'm like, I don't condone that. But at least until you're out of my house, that's all I care.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I never said until marriage.
Yeah.
I just said until you get out of my house.
Yeah. She actually, I've tried to get her into counseling. You know, obviously, this is, you know, I've tried to get her.
Counseling would be good, yeah.
I know,
Sure,
everybody could use a little counseling.
Sure. I mean, she got out early, but she's definitely got baggage.
Oh, yeah, and you carry that. I mean, honestly, from, like, 1 to 5 are your most, like, if you hold on to those core fucking learning skills.
Yeah.
I mean, and when I was going through all those classes, they tell you, I mean, they teach you about every stage and what your brain is absorbing at what stage and, like, all of this stuff. So it's like, I can't falter for anything, you know, because I know what is going on. Like, I know why you're hoarding food in your room. I know why, you know, like, I don't get why there's moldy cheese under your pillow, but I mean, I get it, you know?
Yep.
It's just, I don't know, you guys. My life's fucking crazy. And I feel like every fucking turn is just always this monumental thing. It's never like a smooth sailing. It's just like, heavy. Oh, some more heavy. Let's sprinkle a little bit more heavy on this. And I'm just like, whoa.
I tell you what, though, like, living in a house with men named Pubes. And
I didn't live with him.
I'm sorry.
He only fed me booze and kissed me, okay?
Living in a house where a man named Pubes fed you booze and kissed you prepared you for this moment.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, you know?
I guess the real point is, I mean, my thanks really need to go out to the punk rock legends of my story who prepped me
Right?
with copious amounts of booze and alcohol
I mean, if a
and drugs.
man had not shit himself in your house, would you
I
actually
would
be prepared
really
for children?
I would only have kids to talk about. That's so boring.
You know, you've had to clean up after drug-addled adults. Like, kids must be...
Why did you flush your phone down the toilet? Why? You saw it fall in there. Why did you flush it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, this actually makes sense. Yeah, you were living with, like, burners, like, taking care of fucking adult children anyway.
Yeah.
No, this is cool. What a cool story. Like, what a tale of redemption.
Holy shit, right?
Honestly, and...
It's an ongoing tale.
I mean, it is, yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
She's 15 now?
She will be 15 in May. The end of May.
I guess the last thing I want to know is, so do you talk to your sister or your mom at all anymore?
I do not.
Are they both still alive?
Everyone's still alive as far as I know. My sister did just have a third child who was immediately taken.
Well, okay, that's a small...
Yeah. Is she still down in Vegas? Like, doing
She's
her
still down in
thing?
Vegas. My dad, I tried to have a relationship with my dad when he got out of prison because he was in there for like 8 years, and I was like able to write him letters and be like, this is everything I wanted to say to you always, and like, so we started kind of healing and like recuperating and like trying to build something.
Well, and you'd like to hope that 8 years
I
sober.
mean, the parental
in jail,
bond is so tight, because you're always like, you always want to have a relationship with your parents, but it just, sometimes if you can, it's that bond that,
Sure.
So, and that's another thing about Jordan is like, she puts them on a pedestal, and I'm never, and like as much as she knows.
Yeah, does
that she does. I am 100.
She
and you
have a
should.
relationship
And
with her
Matthew
mom?
attests to this. I'm just like, I'm very upfront person. I don't lie about shit. I just like tell it like it is, and that's how I parent. I'm like, this is the fucking situation.
Right.
You're not allowed to talk to them until you're 18, and then you can do whatever you want. But I'm protecting you, and my job is to fucking take care of you. And
Does
I'm
she
gonna
get
do
shitty
that.
about that?
She did for
does she want?
She
to
did
talk
for
to
a
her
couple
mom
of
and stuff?
times because her biological dad did come back here when I first got her, maybe 2 years after I got her.
Oh, shit.
He came back to Portland, and somehow, I don't even remember how he found me, but I'm not even really online anymore. I'm like, I try, just because I don't want to fucking deal with that shit. I don't want to be found. I don't want fucking any drama, because if they find out where I'm at, they're going to come asking for shit. And I'm not having it. I'm just fucking not. I built all this on my own, and I don't need you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, so I forgot what my train of thought was.
Her dad.
Oh yeah, her dad came here, and he was like, "Oh, I got a new girlfriend, and she has a daughter, and this and that," and like, I went over and checked it out, and he just wanted to see her. He just wanted to hang out, and like, I was like, let's go out for coffee. Let's, she deserves to know who you are. I'm not trying to keep her from you. I'm just trying to raise her to be a fucking decent human being,
Sure. Right.
So, we kind of built that up over a couple of months, and then Jordan and this girl's daughter got really close, because we had gone on play dates together and stuff, and so it was like, I don't know, it was like it was some kind of holiday. And I was like, I wanted to go out. couldn't find a babysitter. And he was like, well, you can drop her off over here. We'll be fine. And it was. Like, it was totally fine. But then I picked her up, and maybe, like, that happened, like, where he babysat her maybe 3 times. And then the third time I picked her up, she was like, my daddy says that we're going to buy a big house together, and we're going to all live together, and this and that. And he said that he's going to take you to court and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, really?
Whoa.
Does he now?
What in the actual
Does he now?
fuck?
So that was the end of that.
Yeah.
I don't talk to my sister. She sent me like this was probably like 6 years ago. She sent me some long message on Facebook blaming me for leaving her there when I left when I was 16. I'm like, you were 14 years old and I hated you. I wasn't going to take you anywhere. And like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, don't put this on me, you know?
Yeah, boy.
I don't fucking think so. And then, you know,
if you ran away from home at 16, like, the only person you were prepared to take care of was yourself.
No,
Jesus
for real.
Christ.
That was my one thought. I was like, I just need to get the fuck out of here so I don't fucking die.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me? But my dad, he tried to, you know, cultivate the relationship between the both of us. When he got out of prison, I was like, okay, come visit us. You can stay here for a couple days and we'll kind of like, you know, try. And we did, and it lasted for a couple of months, but he kept trying to text my daughter on the sly and be like, oh, this is your biological mom's number, and all this and that. What? And like all these, after I fucking said...
just undermining you?
Dude, I set...
What the fuck?
You don't even know. I set the hardest fucking thick-ass line of boundary, and I was like, if you want to be in our life, this is the boundary. And if you cross it, you're fucking done. And he did. And I was like you're so fucking done.
Ways too, yeah.
In so many ways.
Wow.
And I was like, you're fucking done.
Shit.
And so I cut him off for like probably 3 years, right? And he fucking calls me. He texts me out of nowhere and he's like, do I still have a daughter in you? And I was like, what the fuck? And then, no, fuck you, right? And then like he calls me and he's just like fucking whimpering and crying. And I was like, are you okay? Like I was for sure that he had like was on something, you know?
Right.
And like, I was just like, I couldn't get anything out of him. And finally he was just like, I'm so alone. I'm living in this halfway house. And like, he has like I said earlier, he has a prosthetic leg. And the end of his prosthetic leg, because he wears a prosthesis, gets really like bed sores, basically, from rubbing against it. And so it would get infected if he didn't take care of it. And so he just let it go. And he got infected and it was going up. And he's just like, I don't have any reason to live. And Kimmy, I'm all alone. I don't have any love. Oh, woe is me. And I was like, I don't fucking care. I was like, this is what happens when you fuck people over your entire fucking life, Dad. I don't care.
Yeah.
Damn straight.
Wow.
I don't care. And that was the last time I fucking talked to him.
Well, hell.
Yeah. My husband was like, you need to make a decision because, like, this kind of weird half-in, half-out thing is, like, not good for you. Because I kept trying to give him a chance, you know? But yeah, I was like...
Yeah. I mean,
done.
There's the family that you get, and there's the family that you choose.
That's exactly it.
Yep.
That's exactly it. And, you know, there is a family that you choose, and sometimes you're not ready to see it, too.
Yeah.
When you're forever running from stuff.
For sure.
That, you know, there's been people that, like, a couple of best friends that I had during the time, like, one of my clients was like, oh, you should totally, like, talk to people that were with you at that time of your life and, like, see how you've changed and stuff. I was like, they're all gone.
Yeah.
Everyone's gone.
I've heard that argument, too. You know?
Everyone's gone. Like, it's just me now.
Like, I can tell the stories just fine, you know?
I know how I've changed. Believe me, I've done the work.
Yeah.
I know how much of a fucking hot mess I was when I first adopted her. Like, my resentment was so strong.
And the folks who've carried us are still there with us.
They're still with me, you know? And, like, it's good. It's good. I'm doing good. I got an amazing husband who's fucking super supportive.
Hell yeah.
And he also worked at high school in Milwaukee it's like a... What's the high school that you go to when you get pregnant? You know, like, I can't remember the term for it right now, but it's like a secondary high school that you went to.
Yeah.
It's on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember it either. But.
Yeah, but he worked at one of those high schools, so he's dealt with many a teenager who's been through fucking hell and back, you know, so he is my rock. He definitely is like, you need to walk around the block for a minute, and I'm just gonna... He's about the long con, I'm about the fuck you. You know? So it works out well. So I get pissed initially, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a walk, you talk to her.
You've lived in volatile situations your whole life, it sounds like, so, yeah, it's, you know, it makes sense, but... Do you want to leave any closing thoughts? Because we're actually like almost out of time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think my only closing thoughts, or a couple. I did want to leave some people with some stuff.
yeah,
Down.
Number one, take care of your fucking shit, you guys. Like, just talk to people about it. You don't have to, pay for it. Just fucking get it out. Think about it. Just work through your shit, because you're never gonna be able to love somebody else if you don't love yourself and know where you came from, really.
Yeah.
And like kind of what you're becoming and what your journey is, because like I could have just as easily not.
You could have just said no.
No, I could have fucking said no.
Yeah.
And just think about that situation when you feel like you're at a point in your life where like this is a left or right decision, and if I don't make it in the right way, it's going to be huge. Think about those things. Always be looking for that kind of duplicitous kind of life. It's like choose your own adventure,
Yeah.
So that, and, friends or family you choose, and you don't have to fucking, if you have a toxic family or anything like that, and they're just like always fucking pulling you into the drama or whatever, dude, just fucking walk away.
You can.
You're a grown-up. You can do that. You don't have to be at the fucking mercy of all the adults around you anymore. You don't have to be that person, and I will you to fucking choose your own path, man, for real. Just walk away. And
damn straight.
Find the friends that are willing to support you and fucking gallop out of the fucking distance.
Exactly.
Okay? In a sea of Australian dirt dust. With the God winds behind you.